Well, let me get a sense of the energy in the room this morning. I have aspirations for today, hopes for today, that I look forward to reaching or exceeding in a better way. And that is to create a community of folks in a new affinity group that we call Circle America. Now, the mission of Circle America is to advance the laws and the markets and the culture of a circular economy. And it is an inherently connective approach because we are growing an economy that is more like nature, more connected together, where we are all part of something that is larger than us, that is encompassing of us, and where each of us plays a niche role that really represents what we are at our core. And connecting that to other people and other ideas, we find that the combination is not just a multiplication of your potential, but an exponential or qualitative increase in what you can accomplish and what you can do and what we can be. And I think people are hungry for this right now, and I think the time is right historically. The line has had a very long and productive run. Linear cause and effect thinking, which came to be lionized and even deified in the Industrial Revolution, the scientific revolution, has been tremendously valuable in generating human prosperity, material prosperity, as well as intellectual prosperity and the development of our civilization. But it is coming to an end. Lines do come to an end. We are entering a time when we're going to be turning that line back on itself into a circle. Now, a circle is also a line, but when you connect the ends of the circle, they disappear. And suddenly there is no end and no beginning. You are in a continuous flow. And the idea of a world in which we are in a continuous flow that doesn't just start at a particular time of birth and end at a particular time of death, but that continues on, it's a different psychology. It's a different way of looking at reality than we have enjoyed so far. So I really think that, having studied ecosystems in the process of saving them over time, I've noted that ecosystems, all ecosystems, go through the same kinds of phases that we are now going through. Phases of birth, of growth, of variation, and of transformation. That every ecosystem, and by this I mean any living system, you as an individual, your family, your community, your city, your nation, an idea, a career, anything that is a part of life goes through these four phases. Birth, when a variety of seeds emerge from the ground, a variety of possibilities. But in an ecosystem, the possibilities that take hold are the ones that consume most abundantly the resources that are available to them. So in a forest, that means the species that consume energy aggressively and grow quickly, reproduce quickly. And those seeds come to dominate the environment. And growth, physical growth, dominates the environment. And the growth is of homogeneous species that are all the same. And they're all highly competitive with one another. Every blade of grass competes with every other blade of grass. Every tree competes with every other tree, pine tree, for example, or a mangrove tree. Quick growing, but also quick dying, because they create a tapestry that then creates niches within them, and in those niches, the other seeds begin to grow. And the physical growth of the forest begins to stop. But the complexity of the forest continues to increase, and the capacities of the forest continue to increase. The periods of growth are pretty short-term. They're establishing the framework. The periods of differentiation and variation go for a long time. And because the system is dividing itself into all of these niches, you have niches individually that go through periods of transformation, of death and rebirth, little pockets within the system that do that, but the system as a whole can thrive for the very long term. I think this is where we are as a species right now. I didn't expect I was going to be going through all of this morning, but I think it's apropos to where we are. This is where our industrial system is. We are at the tail end of a period of rapid physical growth, but we're at the end of that phase of growth. We are artificially continuing the growth, fertilizing it, injecting more money and more stimulus and so on to continue to grow physically, when in fact our system is telling us it's time to grow inwardly, to become connected again. And that's what we are doing today. So, thank you. I appreciate that. No, that was not part of what I was supposed to say, but nonetheless, I think it is apropos to what we're going to be experiencing today. We have a great group of thinkers and doers. I love that combination of people who can think deeply and complexly and probably go through a lot of personal angst to get there. At least I know I do. Thank you very much. That's why I tend to be very forgetful of everything. I only forgot these this morning. That was it. But we have a great group of folks, and we want to have a conversation. And like I say, we'd like to see a community develop. We are here launching a new initiative called Circle America. And this is not a new organization, a new NGO. Our desire is not to compete with any existing institution in this field, many of which are represented here, but to provide connections between them and to fill gaps. An affinity group is a group of people who like each other, who have an affinity for each other. Affinity comes from physics, where atoms are drawn together to one another in functional wholes, and that's what we are going to do. We're going to draw together in functional wholes. Let's go through some introductory slides. We're introducing Circle America, a collaborative affinity group of investors, donors, executive activists, innovators, and influential civic and citizen leaders from across the political spectrum who are all dedicated to a circular economy and culture. Thanks to groups like the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, who we'll be hearing from later, circular economy is not one of those partisan tinged ideas right now. It is bipartisan, it has support across the spectrum. So we are going to help to advance that cause. We are launching Circle America today, at this moment. It is now birthed. It will go through its process of growth. Thank you. Thank you. And you are all at the founding meeting of Circle America. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being here today. We have a guide for you, which you all can gather through this. You can get it virtually on your phone and on your system. Guide to the Earxthx Guide to a Circular Economy. And what we have tried to do in this guide is to provide an overview of all of the technologies, the policies, the systems of recycling, of source reduction, of transformation that all contribute to circularity. But we also are delving into the elements of circular culture and law. We're going to talk a lot about the laws that are being passed and established this year. We've got 7 new extended producer responsibility for packaging laws going into effect across the country. They will involve a spending of $60 to $100 billion over the next 10 years. $60 to $100 billion is on slate to be invested in a circular economy. We can either see those monies wasted and at the end of 10 years say we have not solved the problem, or we can see those dollars invested well in directions that reduce costs, reduce environmental impact, and turn into a real investment in the future. And we're going to work as hard and as smart as we can to ensure the latter, to reduce the cost and enhance the benefits so that everybody comes out well from this. If we do that, we have a formula for success, not just here, but across the board. So that's the guide to the circular economy. Our 2026 goals, and I'll explain these, we want to reach 100,000 people with this guide and educate them about a circular economy. We want to reach 250,000 that we recruit to Circle America. Now, as I say, Circle America is not an NGO the way others are. We want to empower the field. So we want to be partnering with other NGOs and to help to grow their membership and have an accumulation of members that is at least 250,000 by the end of this year. And I think we have a confident path to get there. And we want to mobilize 10,000 people for the circular economy. That means to activate 10,000 probably in 1 or 2 geographic areas where we can have a substantive impact on policy, on regulation, on the implementation of these laws, or the establishment of new laws, so that we can demonstrate that we have that power. And we're going to do it very surgically. We've studied for many years here how to recruit people in the most important districts and the most important places so that they have maximum impact. So those are our goals for the year. Our founding members, I want to thank all of our founding members for being a part of this, and I want to invite others to become founding members as well. We are a broad-based organization, or a broad-based affinity group, as I say. We want everyone to be in the room. So we want everyone at the table. NGOs, activist groups, civic organizations, retail, consumer brands, energy companies, solar, wind, oil, gas, chemical, all of the players in this process. Our approach is to be pro-activists. For those of you who were at the dinner last night where we rewarded 10 companies for their positive action, that's an example of pro-activism. We're going to be focused on the positive, and we're going to be focused on what is unique and extraordinary about every participant in this process, including the companies involved. A lot of people, it's very easy to stereotype a group. This is the way all progressives are. This is how all conservatives are. This is how all oil companies are. This is how, all middle Americans are, whatever it is. But we find that every individual company has distinctive qualities, and you'll hear from some of them today, things that are extraordinary about them, and we want to emphasize those and grow those, rather than stereotyping and demeaning. Today's agenda: what's most important for advancing circular policies, and how do we get there? What's most important for advancing circular markets, and how do we get there? We're going to be taking those 10 areas of protecting the world's ecosystems and say, what can the major brands do to drive change across their whole supply chain? But then what's most important is, what can leading influential consumers, and we're going to hear from one woman, Sarah, who is an influencer of consumers, about how to do that. And then what's most important for advancing a circular culture, and how do we get there? That circular culture, I think, is something that can be broadly attractive to people, because I think that our current culture is leaving, especially our children, feeling very unmoored and without agency and without power and without a sense of purpose. And I think the circular culture is an antidote to that. So we want to see that happen.